so excited to be here right now.
Me too.
One of my favorite reactions to have after seeing a movie is when I can't stop saying to myself, like, how? How is that possible? How do human beings create such electrifying stories like this? And I'm hoping that during tonight's conversation, we're going to answer that question a little. It feels like, half hour is not enough to do this movie justice, but we're going to do our very best right now. So please join me in welcoming some of the team behind Amelia Perez, beginning with our choreographer, Damien Chalet. Please join me in welcoming Edgar Ramirez, who plays Gustavo. We have Selena Gomez, who plays Jessie. Next up, we have Zoe Saldana, who plays And finally, we have Carla Sofia Gaston. Oh my, that was wonderful. I also just want to introduce our interpreter tonight, Lorna. Thank you so much for being with us. I am going to start with a big old group question for all of you. It's a question that I love asking, but in particular here, where there's just like a multitude of creative opportunities when you jump into a project like this. For each of you, when you first signed on, what single thing were you most excited to do on this movie? And then also, in the end, is there anything about it that wound up being more creatively fulfilling than you ever could have imagined at the start?
Sorry, because this is special for me because in the second line there's one of my friends that I worked a lot of time ago in Spain, and o sea, estaba mirándola todo porque la acabo de ver y te quería decir que gracias por venir a esta función. Finalmente la pregunta, porque es que la vida de los actores es bien jodida.
So sorry, I just got lost looking at my friend and I lost track of the question. And as you know, actor's life is very effed up.
Bueno, sorry for my English, it's really good, but in this language I prefer to do in others more, like Spanish. Para mí, o sea, la pregunta sería al revés. ¿Qué es lo que no me atrajo como actriz de este proyecto? Creo que es una película que cualquiera que viera en el guión se sorprendería al decir cómo vamos a poder hacer esto realmente, porque son tantas cosas las que tiene, son tantos géneros los que toca, son tantas cosas las que cuenta que es imposible describirla. A mí cuando me preguntan cómo puedes describir esta película, digo, esta película lo único que es una obra de arte, ni siquiera pertenece al cine, es una película que es historia pura del cine.
I think for me the question more than what it would be instead, what was it that would not attract me from this project? Anyone that looks at that script would wonder, like, how would we make this happen? Because it touches upon so many things and so many genres. It's something impossible to discover. I get asked that question all the time, like, how would you describe this movie? And I just say it's a work of art. It's a work of art that transcends cinema. It's just art.
Y como yo creo que todos vosotros aquí sois actores, la mayoría, ¿verdad? Creo que sabéis lo que significa el tomar un guión, el estar trabajando toda la vida muy, muy duro y que al final llegue a algo tan hermoso y verlo en la pantalla y que te regalen un personaje así tan difícil, tan complicado, tan lleno de tantas cosas. Y os voy a decir algo realmente, que era contestando a tu siguiente pregunta, que es lo que vi en la pantalla. Yo me he pasado toda la vida trabajando desde los 16 años, bien lo sabes tú, y cada cosa que yo me veía en la pantalla siempre tenía algo para que criticarme. Nunca he sido siempre muy autocrítica con mi trabajo y siempre he tenido un reproche de ¿por qué has hecho esto? ¿Por qué has dicho esto? ¿Por qué no te has puesto de lado? ¿Por qué no te has...? Y creo que cuando los actores conseguimos la libertad de trabajar sin estar condicionados por lo que creemos que los demás esperan de nosotros, es cuando damos nuestra mejor versión como actores y actrices. Y al final, después de tantísimos años, 30 y pico años que llevo trabajando, empecé a los 16, tengo 52, llegar y ver un puto trabajo en la pantalla en el que estoy buscando y buscando a ver qué puedo encontrar de mal y no encontrar nada y decir, joder, no tengo nada malo que decirte, Connie, lo has hecho bien esta vez, es muy bueno.
¡Bravo!
I believe all of you here, or most of you, are actors, so you know what it's like to get a script, and you know that it's hard work, and to get something this beautiful, and then to be able to see myself on screen, and getting the gift of this complex character is so rewarding. And going to the second part of your question, and I've been working since I'm 16 years old. And so I've always been very critical of myself. I've been my one own toughest critic. And always questioning, why did you do this? Why did you choose to do this? Why didn't you turn the other way? And so it's wonderful when actors get the freedom to be, and without being conditioned about the expectations of others, and to be able to see the best in ourselves. And in the end now, after 30 plus years in this industry, you know, I started 16, I'm 52 years old now, and to see this fucking work on screen, and to be able to see myself and wonder, trying to find these, what's wrong, and to say, damn it, you did it.
Nothing is wrong.
Pass it down the line? How do you follow that? I honestly, it's echoing what Carla is saying. What began as an opportunity to work with an iconic filmmaker that I've loved since I was a teenager. I would like smoke a joint back then. I don't do anymore. And I would go to the Angelica Theater in New York, you know, remember that on Houston, and I watched The Beat That My Heart Skipped, and it blew my mind away. And then I watched Rust and Bone, and then I watched Deepan, and then I watched The Prophet. And this man just never repeats the same thing. And so he was a bucket list. It was an opportunity. When I was cast, as I met Carla, the force of nature that is this woman, and how she brought it every day and compelled us, forced us to bring it every day. And then, you know, meeting the art direction and working with music, working with choreography with Damian, meeting Selena, Adriana, Edgar. This became a gift. It became something really special. And it's like you have those moments where you say, I'm not gonna think about this outcome. I'm just gonna be here today. Because I'm having so much fun. I'm learning so much. I've been given an opportunity to reconnect with parts of me that I've never been able to share wholly as a full artist. And I just didn't want to, spend my time thinking about how it was going to turn out, because it was turning out fine every day for me. So I just wanted to stay in that space.
Am I next?
Yes, you are.
Okay, please don't kill me. I've been working since 7 a.m. What was the question?
She speaks only Spanish.
I said it to you before, you should be feeling like this. You have a special movie and you should be spreading the word everywhere out there. So this feeling is very justified and should be
Oh, I'm
happening.
sorry, please ask.
Can you tell me what single thing about making this movie you were most excited about, but then also something that wound up being more creatively fulfilling than you ever could have imagined?
At first, I didn't believe that I got the part for a really long time. I just knew that, as Zoe was saying, my goal has never been to be the lead or necessarily have roles come to me. The ones that I tend to chase are the ones that people definitely do not see me in. And I don't get a lot of those scripts, so I was eager and so excited to work with someone with a great filmmaker like Jacques, and have the opportunity to work with these incredible women. And I jumped at the opportunity. I auditioned twice for it. I gave it my all. It was one of my favorite auditions. And I let it go. And a year later, I got the phone call.
What?
Apparently, Jacques said he already cast me, but didn't tell me. But I was beyond myself, and I was very, very grateful that he saw something in me. And he honestly helped me believe in myself as an actor a lot more than I give myself credit.
Bravo, Selena.
All right, Edgar, you're up.
I'm very moved today. It's been a very special day. We had the premiere last night, and it was a real party. I think that we all, and I know I can speak on behalf of all of us, I think that we all knew when we were in Paris a year ago that we were doing something strange and special and unique and different. But to have this type of response and reaction and that the movie is being welcomed in this way with so much enthusiasm and curiosity and excitement is something that we could have never anticipated. I echo Zoe and Selena. Jacques Audiard is one of the most prolific, one of the most original directors in the history of cinema. He exercises such a pure curiosity, such a pure compassion for human nature. And for me, the opportunity to work with him is also, it was part of a bucket list, but a bucket list that I don't know, who knows? I mean, that's something that you wish, but you never know if you're gonna get it. You know, I mean, you as an actor, you have your dreams, right? But then you keep working, you go from one project to another, and then you just hope for the best. I mean, there's no formula. I mean, it would be nice to say, yeah, of course, it was part of my strategy. I knew that it was something. Of course not. And all the actors here know that, you know, it never works that way. And to have the opportunity to be part of something so special and to support these incredible actresses in a story that ultimately is a story about freedom. That's what I think the movie's about, is the pursuit of freedom through the portrait of these four women trying to break free from social constraints, internal constraints, trying to regain their confidence, their agency. It's a story about emancipation, trying to become the truest version of themselves. And I think that that anyone can relate to that, and that's where the movie becomes so universal, because I think that at the end of the day, you know, where everything is said and done and when everything starts to trickle down, all we want in life is to be free. And freedom is hard. Freedom is difficult. And sometimes we take it for granted. But I'm Venezuelan, so I know what I'm talking about. Again, sorry that I'm just like very emotional today, and I think that is fascinating to be part of a project that has the ability to speak to everyone in a certain way, because I think that at the end of the day, we all want to be free. And there is a fight, and there is a struggle, and there is a strive to reach that freedom. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy that I got to do this with you, because I love you so much, all of you.
What to add? For me, it started quite a long time ago, because I think I was in Mexico. It started with a weird kind of alignment of planets. I was in Mexico with a tour, got completely cancelled because of another wave of COVID. And I was saying to my partner who in Mexico City, I was saying, if now a really good director could contact me to do a project, to which he added, if it could be in Mexico. And the next day, I'm not even kidding, 24 hours later, I got a message from the assistant of Jacques Audiard, who's like one of my favorite directors, saying that she wanted to meet me. And I said, absolutely, I'm just in Mexico, I'm not coming back before 1 month. And she said, well, actually, the film might be shot in Mexico, it's arriving on Friday.
Wow.
So we met 3 days later, and I was so nervous. I had read the script, I was like, I like to repeat that, but there was no indication about anything about dance into it. It was just completely abstract. I didn't even see where that could enter, because it was so condensed with the story, with the lines, with the songs, and there was not even musical part where you could just dance. It was just da-da-da-da-da. And I just remember that we arrived, he was in this room with many of the artistic crew. I was both completely terrified and at the same time so shocked by this alignment of things that I said, you need to be there. And he asked me, what did you think about the script? And I said, wow, yeah, it's something, and I think it's incredible. Yet I had absolutely no idea how we would do this. I was like, this is such a tight rope to walk on. Do you want to do a musical? Okay, in Spanish, okay? With that story, sure. He said, how would you work on this? And I understood that already this had to be choreography. My phone is falling off emotion. How would you do this? And I was like, well, obviously your actors will have to dance. And he had no idea who the actors, he was looking for the actors in Mexico at the time. And I said, you have to understand, because you never worked with choreographer, that I'm gonna be in between you and them. And I know you're an amazing actor-director, but to formalize a language might be feeling really irritating. And I'm gonna try to take that position, but I think I should be more in observation of something. He said, oh, that's fine. Do you wanna do it? So I said yes, but inside of me I was terrified because I had absolutely no idea what to do. And it took us kind of a year and a half to figure out how. And I would say that it's only when those incredible beings sitting next to me came in the film that it only completely took its meaning. And I got blessed to, I really wanted to create a choreography that felt like haute couture. No, I wanted for each of them to have the right physical language, not just for the character, but for them as actors also to feel that it's helping them to find the character, to get even deeper into it, and that you would not just be an obstacle. So that was the biggest challenge. And to come back to your last question I was very excited about all this perspective, but terrified. But I remember we were in Cannes, and I was sitting next to Selena, and it was the first time she saw the film. And we were in this big room with like and none of you had seen. I had seen something, a version a few months before, but there was this sense of, we all surrendered to the film, like literally like being in a kind of a, roller coaster where you're like, and we were all crying at the end in the uploading, and it was true emotion. It was not this kind of, over emotional. It was, I could feel we were all completely disarmed and moved to be part of something like this.
To dig into some specifics now, Zoe, I wanted to come your way first because we all know you're a trained dancer, but I wanted to focus on, we can start that for sure. I wanted to focus on the singing, which I read was a little bit of a nerve-wracking endeavor for you. I am curious, what did you learn about, I guess, honing your craft as a singer in general, but then also what did you learn about taking that ability to sing well and incorporating it into an emotional performance?
I think I'm going to try to answer your question. I mean, we're all amazing singers in the shower, right? We're all great. We can belt out like Mariah Carey in the shower. I can hold a tune. I wouldn't say that I have any kind of pitch that is remotely, great. It's good. It's okay with practice, right? Everything with practice is always like achievable. I didn't want to approach this, and thank God that Jacques was so supportive about that, as a singing role. These were outlets that Rita would use to just spew out her frustration and her inability to speak for herself. So, Rita is this timid person that has a great idea of the law, and she's a huge advocate for others, and she loves to follow others that are more vivacious, but she doesn't really believe, and she doesn't have the courage to be as open as she can. So trying to sort of translate that in terms of how does she walk? How does she, when she's being in her world, versus when we're being in her mind and in her heart, right? In her thoughts and in her heart. And those were the moments where this abandonment, this sort of freedom and came. So those steps and those tunes, those tones then would be about that. So it was just a lot of practice and a lot of trust. There were moments in which I would be in the studio with Camille and with Clément, and the notes just wouldn't come. And it wasn't just because my voice wasn't placed in the right place, my thoughts weren't. I was approaching it as myself, as a person, versus approaching this as Rita. So the moment I would make that shift and kind of go, oh my God, I'm desperate, or whatever place that Rita was in, then that voice finds its placement. And one thing I really respect is that Jacques was adamant about shooting the live version. When we were shooting on set, he was very much like, keep the mic alive, don't bring the sounds that you recorded. I want them to sing from like in the moment, because if you start a scene and you're going through that journey as a character, your voice finds its placement according to what you're feeling. So that song is going to intonate in a completely different way than how you recorded it last week in the studio. So we would do that, and then Camille, Clément, and Jacques would regroup. It was mainly Camille and Clément going, "Wah!" and Jacques going, "No, c'est pas mal, it's not bad." And then we would go back into the studio and redo it and just fine tune it and combine the live and the recorded version, which I think it's what you ended up seeing a lot of the times. And that was what ended up surprising us a whole lot.
That process pays off big time. I wish we had all night to highlight so many scenes now, but I know we're running out of time. So Selena and Carla, I want to ask you about one specific scene towards the end of the movie. It's the song during the shootout, which is just like exquisite performance beats from both of you, and I'm sure every single song in this movie was a challenge, but that particular moment needs to bear the weight of literally the entirety of the story. So was that a particularly challenging moment in the movie for both of you?
Sí, fue muy especial. It's really special that moment. For me, it's one of my. I think that is one of my preferred sequence, because A ver, os voy a contar algo que está interesante. Me pasé toda la pinche película diciéndole a Jack que en esa secuencia, Manitas, o sea, Emilia tenía que demostrarle a Jessie que era el amor de su vida y que estaba todavía enamorada de ella, etcétera, etcétera, y que tenía que surgir el amor entre los dos. Y el Jack todos los putos días me decía lo mismo. No, déjame en paz de esto, a mí no me hables de esta tontería, que no quiero saber nada, Y el día que la filmamos, yo ya iba con la intención de que eso iba a suceder y ella también, seguramente porque es que no tenía otro lado por el que llegar. Y cuando terminamos la secuencia, el cabronazo se levanta del asiento y dice: ¡Wow! Jamás había pensado en esto. Realmente ha surgido el amor entre los dos otra vez. Digo, vete a la mierda.
Okay, let me tell you something. I spent the whole damn time telling Jacques that Emilia needed to tell at the end to Jessie that she still loved her, that she was the love of her life. And Jacques said, no, don't talk to me about that. No, I don't see it that way. So I went in to shoot that final sequence with that intention in mind, and so did she, and so we did it. And after we shot it, Jacques just went, wow, I just never thought that was possible, that the love between those two was real. And I just went, oh, go to hell.
Así son los directores de simpáticos a veces con nosotros.
Directors can be that nice sometimes.
It was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I remember shooting it. It was very emotional, and I think I just wanted to go there with an open heart. I'll tell you one thing. I believe that this movie will affect people in a way, and I think there's going to be compassion for a whole community that there is desperate, that they want to be seen, and I just feel like there was love there from the beginning. I met Carla, and it was actually really painful to watch her be in pain, but it was one of the most rewarding scenes, and I remember feeling the weight of her and breathing and being thrown in these situations, thinking I'm one of the luckiest people to be witnessing history. And it was very special for me.
One of the best things in the world just happened. I thought that said wrap. It said I have a little more time. So I wanted to make sure to include this question because I feel like some people out there might know I ask this a lot. It's one of my favorite things in the world to ask. In this industry, we give each other awards. Clearly, we are here to celebrate that, and it's a very important thing, and I think we need to keep doing that. I find that nobody in film and television tells themselves good job nearly enough. So I want each of you to tell me something you did making this movie that you know you will always be able to look back on and say, I am so proud of what I did there.
I can start. Gives you time to think about it. I want to say that the scene of the gala was not supposed to be a dance scene. Until 2 months prior we started shooting. And I remember us being on the table with Camille, Clément, Jacques, and the assistant, etc. And at one point I was, guys, we have an incredible dancer, which is Zoe. And for the moment we have her only in the first scene, and that's her moment. And I was like, there's no way. We need to really make a moment out of a character, to also participate to develop this character. And Jack said, okay, you can try. And we changed the music to make that happen. there was one part in the first that had this kind of rap, and I thought it was so inspiring. And you know, like words become like weapons, like kind of this rhythm was so interesting to develop choreographically. And it gave us the time for Zoe and I to grow this scene words by words. It's the most complicated thing. It's such a challenge for an actor, and you were constantly thinking, I'm never gonna make it, I'm never gonna, and I was like so convinced from day one that it could be like, you know, and I was so proud when we shot that scene, and when it became that moment when you exploded. And that was such an amazing collaboration during the process of that film, and that's something I will keep on looking back and say that really came through you know, that kind of collaboration, thinking, seeing how things work, how the actor take it. Like it was for me like the most beautiful memory.
It's a great example. Who wants to jump in next?
Awesome point. Should we go down the line?
Yeah, I think down the line is probably the best way.
Yeah, sure.
Es que otro que solamente habla español. Gente.
Another one that just speaks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, there was some in the. Okay, of course you've seen the movie. It's perfect. So. In the last scene when we're in the car, when I put Emilia in the trunk, and then Jesse realizes that Jesus starts to realize that she's also Manitas, or she was Manitas. When we were doing the rehearsal, when we were preparing for the scene, which was actually the first scene that Selena and I shot together. It was my first scene in the movie. And the original in the script, in order to calm her down, because she trusted on Gustavo, and there's a very clear possibility that we're all gonna get killed. In the script, he was supposed to punch her in the face to disarm her. So, as we were rehearsing, we were talking about punching in the face is very specific. And if you love someone, it doesn't matter what tension, you don't punch people that you love in the face, let alone your romantic partner. It's too specific. And my character, our characters are flawed and they are full of contradictions, but Selena and I understood that they were really in love. And although my character also belongs to the crime world and he's a bad boy, he was definitely, that was part of the choice of the conversation we had, he was definitely in love with her. And also in Jesse's emancipation, to then be with a guy who is able to punch her in the face is continuing the cycle of violence. So there's no change. And then we kind of like said to the stunt people, we're gonna talk to Jacques because I cannot punch her in the face. Like I cannot punch someone that I love in the face, and that's not the character that, I don't think that it's gonna take away anything, like any of the violence and all that, but punching in the face is too specific. And then I think that by not punching Jesse in the face, by creating because of course, Gustavo needed to disarm her so that in the state of nervousness that she was and in shock, not to get into an accident that eventually is what happened, but not to get not to get everyone killed. So I think that by us making that choice, we changed the polarity of the love story, and that's where the love story between Jesse and Gustavo was born. And that's what made, like the team, and of course started with Jacques, to then invite Gustavo to the musical number of Mi Camino, because I was never supposed to sing, I was never supposed to dance. And then after that, there was conversations between all of you that there's a real love story here, so we should create a moment of solace, we should create a moment of like a breath of air in between all this tension. And that's when I got a text from you, or from Jack, for both of you. It's like, okay, for the next 2 weeks, you're coming to the production office to rehearse. Rehearse what? You're going to rehearse a musical number. What musical number? Exactly. And then, well, that was beautiful. So that was something that, you know,
By the way, that was my first scene I shot on this movie as well. I don't know why he did that to us, but it was fun, I guess.
I guess.
One of the moments that was really, that stands out to me is the scene where I meet Emilia. And it's me, Zoe, and Carla. And I remember it was a day on set that I was very shy, and I remember walking onto set being so nervous to work with, you know, Zoe, because I was such a fan, but then also having to pretend I don't know the identity of the person I love. And it was in that moment that I realized I was surrounded by two women that were going to pull the best out of me and believed that I could do it. So Carla, I will start with you, would give 150% of herself, and it just made me have to reach that point, and I could only hope to be on the level that you were on. And Zoe's level of compassion and commitment was so sweet to me. Specifically, I'll be really quick, the scene where I am being dropped off in Switzerland. I actually told Zoe something very personal that happened to me in my life where I had to leave. And she was so compassionate that the tears just felt like I was talking to someone that really saw me for me and loved me. So I don't know, I think I'll just always keep the emotions and everything that I felt as a person on this movie. I think it was really an experience I'll never forget.
I mean, it's so many things that were so special. Being surrounded by human beings that were trying their best every day, that were so committed and so passionate. To be surrounded by that energetic sort of field was inebriating. So that is a memory that I'll never forget. And the summer that we were shooting the movie, there was that French, there was that song by that French singer, ooh, malakaba, can I get a ooh? And we were literally, I was like putting on my eyebrows for Rita Paz, because we were skipping to work knowing that we were going to do something really special. It was a great summer in Paris, so I'll always take that with me, and everything that I learned, how I was challenged, how I was compelled and encouraged to just rise up, was incredible. The one thing that I'm most proud of, just to answer your question specifically, was that I made a promise to not get in my own way. I think that I know you guys know what I mean when I say that. We as actors, we think a lot. Our heads won't leave our heads alone. We think that the approach to a character is a homework that just has to be drafted and drafted and redrafted and redrafted and redrafted. And sometimes you just have to put that pen and paper down, and you just have to jump and just do it, And I just didn't want to get in my own way. I didn't want to be thinking while I was being, And I remember when I started acting, Anne Heche, not Anne Heche, Judy, please remind me, the Dane. This room has you covered. Come on, man, I'm not a night person. This will all be a dream when I wake up going, I just had the most amazing dream. I was like, Judi Dench, when I was starting in acting and I was going to the New School in New York, I read this book by her. I know the New School, and I read this book, and it was like there was a chapter where it said before the actor, can do this and can do that and can do this, the actor must be. and trying to sort of practice the state of being was what I did for that summer in Paris, shooting in Villa Pérez. And I may not be completely happy with everything that I see, but those are issues that I'm always working on. I'm a perfectionist, and I always feel like I can do better. But I'm just proud that every day that was the commitment that I made for myself, and I do believe that I fulfilled it. Yeah.
The thing that I'm most proud of in the film for me is the dancing. Because I dance a lot and I do my best job in the dance. No, I want to say something. I want, o sea, ¿cómo sería? Quiero que, a ver si podemos darle un aplauso entre todos al mejor coreógrafo del mundo. No lo sabéis, pero él hace las coreografías de Madonna, trabaja con Madonna normalmente y aparte hace unas coreografías maravillosas a lo largo a lo ancho y largo del mundo, en Japón, en Chimplú, este hombre. Intentó que yo bailara también, pero no lo consiguió.
¿De verdad?
Y eso es de lo que me siento yo más orgullosa, de que no haya podido hacer que yo bailara porque no me gusta. Realmente, aparte de todas las cosas que han dicho mis compañeras y compañeros, y tú también eres compañera también. Y haber trabajado con un equipo tan maravilloso, en el que sí que os quiero decir algo, porque somos actores que al final a veces pensamos que trabajar para nosotros mismos de una manera egocéntrica hace que nuestro trabajo brille más, cuando creo que lo que tenemos que hacer siempre como actores es trabajar para el otro compañero que tenemos enfrente, para que haga el mejor trabajo de su vida. Creo que eso es de lo que me puedo sentir más orgullosa, de haber dejado un poco mi ego atrás para hacer que las demás personas que estaban enfrente de mí trabajaran de la mejor manera, intentando apoyarla, porque al final eso se traduce en que al final nuestro trabajo también brilla más. Pero si de ahí algo que me siento súper orgullosa yo, es de haber podido conseguir un acento mexicano que no fuera un chiste y que ningún mexicano me diga, vete a tomar el pinche madre.
Well, I definitely would like to acknowledge this wonderful choreographer that's sitting here with us, who's worked with Madonna in Japan and all over the world. And he tried really hard to make me dance, and he was not able to. And I'm so proud that he wasn't able to, because I don't like to dance. But I would like to add on to what my colleagues here, both male and female, have shared this wonderful team. And I'd like to add on that, sometimes as actors, we feel that when we work for ourselves, we work for our own soul selves, we make ourselves shine more. But instead, our job is to work for the other, for the actor that's in front of us, to let them shine so they can do their best work. So what I feel the proudest is that I was able to leave my ego behind and work for the actor in front of me so they could shine the most. And one thing that I'm especially proud of myself is that I was able to pull off a Mexican accent because I wanted to do a Mexican accent that wasn't a joke, and so that Mexicans wouldn't see me and send me to hell.
Sadly, we must wrap with all of you. I would be more bummed about it, but you're going to be on these stages for a whole lot longer, because clearly you made something very special, and I think everybody in the room can feel it. Like, this energy is
Yeah, I'll definitely say this is our favorite crowd.